I think I'm going to turn off that light because doesn't make much difference. My face is getting messed up. I'm bad. I have to see a skin cancer doctor. Side's okay. That's not you. Something bad is going on. So, darn it. Anyway, good evening from beautiful downtown Crestline in the San Bernardino Mountains of Southern California's Inland Empire. Hi, Jason. Welcome in. Hi, Philip. Welcome in. Good to see you guys. Apparently, there are people who find it more convenient when I do a nighttime stream. My face is falling apart from this danged skin cancer, so I'm going to have to probably get surgery. Yuck. What's happening? Well, the fire danger is completely over. We never were ordered to evacuate. It's been 40 degrees overnight and it got up to 6 today. Yesterday, they said it was 60, but it was cold, raining, and windy, and I did not feel it felt like 40 all day. I don't think it was 60. It was somewhere in the 50s Fahrenheit, guys. Room temperature is 72. And I'm pretty enough. Philip is a night owl. Well, also, there's people in other countries, Australia, England, Germany. For them, it's probably morning. Surgery, especially on my face. Well, Philip, we don't really. Yeah, I guess we have fire season every year, but this is a 20-year deal. Well, it was 21 years since the old fire, which was huge, and actually touched the edges of Crestline up on the ridge. The one in these mountains, in the San Bernardino Mountains, one house burned down. It was in Running Springs and right on the edge next to the highway, Highway 18 going up the mountain. It was spared in large part due to the permanent fire break they built. It took several years, and I get now there's Big Bear City, which is not a city, and right next to it is Big Bear, which is a city. Oh, Philip says it's 3:47 p.m. in Sydney, Australia. Well, I don't consider the Pacific Ocean a pond. It's much bigger than the Atlantic. But it's probably tomorrow in Australia. Crazy dateline. International dateline runs through the Pacific Ocean. That Philip Blair emoji. Well, anyway, all 5 cats had to stay in all day yesterday So they were thrilled and delighted to go outside today. It was chilly, but I had to have the door open because the air in here was so stuffy. So I have on 2 sweaters. I have not fired up the main heater. Can't really afford it, and it's supposed to get warm or even hot again by this weekend. And I have to clean the gas heater before I light it up, or all the gunk that's in it, spider webs and cat hair, will catch fire and could burn down the house. It's a hop, skip, and a jump to Australia. Yeah. Okay. Big hop, big skip, and big jump. I'd like to know how that guy at the golf course was able to fly from Hawaii, where he lives, vote in North Carolina, and end up in Florida after making a side trip to Ukraine. He's employed. At least that's what he said when he donated to the blue something. Said he didn't have a job. And then when the golfers moved forward, he would move on to the next hole and check it out. Is my connection bad? Let me see if it works better when I move. See, Daisy. That might be better. It looks good on my end. Well, if he had all that money to help him travel and such, how come he didn't have $25 to buy a ghillie suit? It's like camouflage. How come he didn't have a tripod and he had to rest that thing on the chain link fence? Just saying. Maybe it was meant to be a warning and not a real attempt. Just scare the guy. He was wearing a pink t-shirt while hiding in green bushes. I mean, the whole thing's ridiculous. Oh, wow. Anyway, the fires are pretty much done now. Last week it rained in Running Springs, and this week it rained on the whole mountain. So now the state of Florida is pressing charges because the federal government cannot charge the guy with attempted murder. It doesn't fall under any federal statute. And it's probably just as well. Florida might do a better job. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, we're safe. Yeah, the fire is still going, but it isn't threatening any homes. It's out in the forest, and yeah, it's horrible to see all the trees burned up. But this forest is overcrowded, has more trees than the land can support. And the tree huggers won't let us thin the forest and make it healthier. Well, the thing is, because he's not currently in any federal office, it's that the man is not covered by the statute. The feds can charge attempted murder of a sitting president, vice president, senator, representative, etc. But this man is not in office, so it just doesn't apply to him. So no matter what they argue about the motivation, which is hard to prove, by the way, doesn't matter. The target was not covered by the federal statute. Plus, Florida probably has more resources available. The FBI is stretched kind of thin right now. They've arrested P. Diddy. Is he P. Diddy or just Diddy? Sean Combs. And it's a huge case, a huge federal case. Yeah, that's not federal. I'm sorry, Philip. They've charged the guy. The feds have charged the guy with some gun crimes. How does a guy who's been convicted on felonies involving weapons get a gun? Well, that would be civil, Philip. Civil rights is a civil matter, not criminal. I'm not a lawyer, but I listen to lawyers, and they've explained it in detail. Maybe they're just trying to get the public so tired of it all and so bored that we quit paying attention. Oh, by the way, now Kamala not only wants to say no tax on tips 6 weeks after Trump said it, but now she wants to say no tax on overtime only a week or two after Trump said it. With a very few exceptions, I don't like lawyers. But there are some exceptions. Well, hello, Freeman. Welcome in. We were talking about the guy in the pink t-shirt who went to the golf course. I think I've been on for 15 minutes. Apparently, the guy was hanging out there outside the fence. And it's a chain link fence, so even though there's bushes all over the place, you can see through it. Just get in between the bushes. Apparently, he was there for 12 hours preparing for whatever he planned to do. Uhuru 3? I don't know what that is. I haven't heard about that, Philip. Tucker Carlson interviewed. I have no idea. Haven't seen news about it. Oh, he'd been a mercenary in Afghanistan. Yeah, he had some military history of some sort. Well, if it was an inside job, it wasn't done very well. The guy was incompetent in ways that, I'm just a writer of fiction and poetry who loves cats, and I wouldn't have been that stupid. Let's see. Okay, Philip Tucker Carlson Uhuru. I don't have much light here, and my flashlight batteries are dead. Tucker Carlson Uhuru. I do know touch typing, but I get my fingers in the wrong position when and it comes out as gobbledygook. So something about Florida censoring speech. They're all videos. I don't want to start a video. Here's an article. There's a censorship bill from DeSantis in Florida, Governor DeSantis, and there's charges against Uhuru 3. Oh, a black nationalist group indicted by the Biden Justice Department for its views on Russia. So what yeah, but the rest is all videos. Okay. Well, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not a friend of Russia. Putin is evil, but man, he's a smart cookie. Don't underestimate him. But I really don't think he's out for world domination. He does want Eastern Europe back under Russian influence, that's for sure. You know, the Soviet Union was basically Russia exploiting the resources of surrounding little countries. And I think he wants that back. Yeah, no war with Russia. They will use nukes. As I said, Putin is evil. But so is, can I say this without YouTube fact checking me and punishing me? The comedian who became the leader of a country which is now at war. Well, the thing is, the trip to the golf course was a last minute decision. It was not a public event, it was not announced. How did that guy know 12 hours ahead to be at that golf course? Was it pure dumb idiot luck? Oh, Yuri Andropov. Putin's the protege of Yuri Andropov. I'm familiar with the name, but I don't really know anything about Andropov. Let me see. Google. Where's the V? Former General Secretary of the Communist Party. Yuri Vladimirovich Andropov. Oh. He served for only 2 years and then he died. Oh, he was 69 years old, a year younger than I am now. Wiki doesn't have any details. Oh, poor little Tora is trying to cough up a hairball. In Stalin's footsteps. Oh. Okay. So he must have been evil too. I think he could probably guess that since Trump was at Mar-a-Lago, just a short distance from the golf course, and it was a weekend with no public events planned, he could probably guess that Trump would decide to go golfing because that's what Trump does. Yeah, well, the Zelensky was installed after our CIA and England's MI6 organized a coup against the elected president, who is now in exile, in hiding, in fear for his life. Yeah, we had presidential elections not only in the Civil War, but also in the middle of 2 world wars. That's how FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, got elected 4 times, which is why we now have a term limit, only 2 terms for the president. He died in office and they ended up with Truman. Roosevelt hated Truman, but, it was politics, so Truman took over, and he had never been briefed about atomic weapons and a few other, national security issues. And he gave the okay to drop atomic bombs on Japan. Yep. Philip is voting for Jill Stein. Well, Biden is no longer running. It's just Harris and Walz. In the primary, I voted for Biden. I did not vote for Kamala. I wanted to see a rematch between Trump and Biden, but at this point, I don't know what to do. I think they're idiots if they actually off the orange-haired man, the orange man, because the movement will continue and they'll just vote for J.D. Vance and whoever he picks for his VP. You can't kill a movement that has half the population committed to it. And I don't see what's wrong with making life better for the American people. I really don't. I do know that there is no difference between, oh gosh, Bill Clinton and George Bush Jr. They both oversaw bloody wars with lots of death and destruction. You know, a Democrat and a Republican, or as I like to say, a Republican and a Demoblican. Oh, that was a funny, Philip. Freeman has a sound national policy, and Philip wants to know, what does it sound like? I don't know. It's after 11 o'clock at night here. Of course, if you're back east, it's after 2 a.m. It's kind of warm in the house, even though I have not kicked on the heater. I have a steam vaporizer going, and I just remembered something. I'll be right back. Oh, kitty. Come on, 3C. Come on in. Oh, that's a pretty kitty. About time you came in the house. Okay. Guys, the deal is I had a pot of water simmering on the stove to warm the kitchen, and I got there just in time to turn it off so I don't burn up the pan because almost all the water's gone. And when I mentioned the steam vaporizer, which is still chugging away because it has a gallon of water in it, I thought, oh, I also have that pan on the stove. Hi, Ditch. Welcome in. We're about a half hour in. Mm, my home is okay, but I have to, financially, I don't know. Ditch is a man of mystery. Okay. I'm still waiting for a nice logo or whatever you want to call it to put on my merch. I don't want to push the merch until I'm doing more cooking videos. Oh. Anyway, I do have an apron and a t-shirt. They're very plain, but I like them. Animal House. Was that movie where the I forgot the word. The dumb students won the battle against the good students who had lots of money. Yeah, Toga, Toga, Toga. I've seen that movie. The Nerds. It's kind of like Revenge of the Nerds. Well, the thing I have against the Democrat Party is they shut out everyone else from the primary. They shut out Bernie Sanders. They shut out, what's her name? I keep forgetting her name. The one that somebody in here is voting for. I don't know. Yeah. They did that in 2016. They shut out Bernie Sanders so Hillary could run because it was her turn. Yeah, Jill Stein. Oh, she's Green Party. Well, there was some Well, I know they shut out RFK, Bobby Kennedy Jr. And after suing him in a handful of states to keep him off the ballot, now that he's dropping out, they're suing to keep him on the ballot because they think he'll take votes away from Trump. I don't know. How crazy can you get? Well, just because I'm paranoid doesn't mean they aren't out to get me. I was going to talk about the Matrix, but I'm too tired. Well, Ditch, don't feel too bad about not doing the logo because I haven't done any videos in quite a while. And the ones I have done are kind of short and, they're just, here's some kitchen tools. I still hope that someone in the comments will know what some of those tools are. Tora quit. Quit it. Oh, the United Parcel Truck brought the cat treats today. They were almost out of them. Also brought cat food, didn't it? Well, look out, Tora. I can't put them down in midair. Here come all the other cats. Here, kitty. Well, in previous years, the Republicans wouldn't have agreed to that either. And in fact, some Republicans in Congress are not convinced that we need voter ID, paper ballots, and all that. I can't talk about the Matrix tonight, Freeman. I'm too darn tired. Anyway, I'm supposed to be writing my murder mystery. And I just am really stuck. I started writing it before COVID, so obviously before this major fire. It should be set in something like 2014 or 15. But I had to cannibalize it because the first murder mystery was too short and the ending was not satisfying. Oh, Nixon won in 1960. But John F. Kennedy went to the state legislature of Hawaii and convinced them to accept his alternate electors. And that's how Kennedy got enough votes in the what do you call it? See, I'm tired. He got the votes to become president in that what the heck do they call it? Where the delegates vote. Electoral College. Thank you, Freeman. Unfortunately, Ditch, there's no butler in the story. That would be too easy. You don't need to finish your story, Freeman. I don't have time to read it because I'm looking at the Matrix book, and I have other things I have to read. Well, in Texas, many people who knew Lyndon Johnson personally have said he would take them to a graveyard and say, I want all of these people to vote for me. All the dead people. Yeah. Oh, they got rid of Ron Paul. They got rid of, what was his name? The wealthy businessman ran in the 90s. I think he ran against Clinton. And there was some kind of threat to ruin his daughter's wedding or something. Yeah, Ross Perot. Apparently, Trump is afraid of nothing. Or if he is afraid, he overcomes his fear. Cat hair. Eesh. Yuck. Yeah. Yeah, Ron Paul. Yeah, he was a senator, but his run for president was sabotaged. And they tried to get him out of the Senate. Now his son's in. People are not stupid, but the people in power seem to think we're stupid. Nelson Rockefeller? I don't know anyone who would have voted for Rockefeller. Didn't matter what. Oh, House member? Okay. Thank you, Philip. A representative. I don't like to call them congressmen because then people think that the House of Representatives is the whole Congress. It isn't. It's only half of it. It's the House and the Senate. Well, Nelson Rockefeller did hold some high positions. Anyway, oh, many of the people in power think we're stupid. By the way, there have been a few documented instances in Ohio, actually not in the town of Springfield, but I've seen police body cam footage. That's kind of hard to fake. Of pets. You know the story. And the ducks and geese. But apparently it is not like happening a lot. But as I like to say, when it involves humans, one is too many. Ugh. Okay. Ditch is writing a murder mystery in which the butler kills a butler. And the detective is also a butler. Well, the Muslim thing is they do eat dogs. I don't know about cats. The Jamaican thing is sometimes voodoo. They're not going hungry. They have cash grants and food stamps and subsidized housing and even jobs, some of them. But they're being mistreated. They use their housing vouchers to rent a bed in a house. They'll have like 12 people in a 2-bedroom house because each one is renting a bed. And they have this van that takes them to their work doing, minimum wage work in a factory or something like that. And they charge them for the transportation. So they're really, they're not living the American dream. They're being mistreated in many ways. Yeah, well, that's my problem with Kamala. When our California prisons were ordered by the feds to reduce the population because they were so overcrowded, Kamala released violent criminals early, but not the pot smokers. No, they had to do their whole 10 years. And in some cases, she kept people in prison after they had served their whole sentence to provide cheap prison labor for state projects. I'm in California. California, born and raised. I've seen so much corruption in California. When I was a child, the governor was Pat Brown, Jerry Brown's father. I think the one before him was the Supreme Court Chief Justice Earl Warren. Let me see. I don't remember for sure whether Pat Brown was a Democrat. Let me see. Edmund Gerald Pat Brown. And his son Gerald Brown is, Jerry, Democrat, which is weird because until late 60s, early 70s, maybe. Yeah, until Ronald Reagan finished his term as California governor, most of California was Republican. And let's see, abortion was totally illegal. You had to go to another state if you needed an abortion, unless your life was in danger. Oh, it's the Haitians, not the Jamaicans? I'm sorry, Freeman. Haitians. I could have sworn they said Jamaicans. Oh, well. Oh, I know what it was. One guy who is Jamaican did a long interview about the Haitians. So I got them confused. Haiti is a cesspool. I don't blame them for wanting to leave. Anyway, Reagan, a Republican, was a terrible governor of California. And he was followed by Jerry Brown, a Democrat, who was even worse. We had no repeat Wilson. We had Duke Majan, horrible governor. It didn't matter whether they were Democrat or Republican. They're all awful. Our current governor is Newsom. He's like a cousin of Nancy Pelosi, or is related to her by marriage. I'm not sure which. He's horrible. And I'm tired of seeing various politicians, being interviewed when they're obviously either drunk or hungover. And these people are running our government. At least Newsom doesn't appear to be drunk, ever, but he's so slick. He looks like a used car salesman. Like Cal Worthington and his dog Spot. I don't know. I guess you have to be a Californian to know about Cal Worthington. He did these commercials. He'd talk about his dog Spot, and there'd be a seal sitting on the hood of the car, or there'd be an elephant walking around. He was spoofing, what's his name, who actually had a German Shepherd named Spot, another used car dealer. Why have I forgotten his name? Yeah, Kamala refused to, as the not district attorney, I think she was actually the attorney general, refused to, well, maybe district attorney. She refused to release evidence that the man was factually innocent and he was on death row. The courts had to order her to release it. Yeah, I imagine Haitians and Jamaicans would not like each other. And, Haiti shares the island with the Dominican Republic, and Dominica or is like paradise, and Haiti is like hell. Good governors, maybe Earl Warren, even though he was a Democrat. And he did oversee the Warren Commission, named after him, Earl Warren, with the magic bullet theory about Kennedy's assassination. Upton Sinclair, even Upton Sinclair actually faked a bunch of stuff to make it more sensational, like unsafe at any speed. He focused on a particular model of Chevrolet, I've forgotten what it was called. I've known people who owned one, and Philip, he probably borrowed the elephant from the zoo or the circus. Anyway, the little Chevy car had some faults that every car has. And it wasn't bad at all. It was a fun car, economic on fuel, and what he said about the meat packing plants was mostly true, but he made up a few things. Newsom has no conscience, locks down the whole state, even though the president, the orange man, was begging all the states to stop the stupid lockdowns. Oh, Ralph Williams had a dog spot. Ralph Nader, I don't know. Upton Sinclair wrote something about a jungle. Unsafe at any speed. I thought that was Upton Sinclair. Oh, that was Ralph Nader. Okay. Upton Sinclair. Let's see. So I got him confused. They're both muckraking journalists, by the way. Upton Sinclair, The Jungle. I could have sworn it had a longer title than that. 1906. Well, he died in 68, age 90, in New Jersey. I don't think he could have been our governor. Should have run for president. Yeah, pioneered the kind of journalism known as muckraking. So I guess Ralph Nader was sort of his student. Pure Food and Drug Act. Meat Inspector Act, yeah. Okay. So Upton Sinclair wrote about the meat packing plants. Okay. Yeah, you're right, Philip. Unsafe at any speed was Ralph Nader. And it was mostly just not relevant, not not exactly made up, but not what he made it out to be. Okay, which one ran for governor in 1934? Ralph Nader? Upton Sinclair. Huh. And poverty. Yeah, there's a lot of poverty in California. I gotta get a drink of water. My cup's empty. Be right back while checking the battery on my modem. Let's see. 42%. Ah, God. Oh, I was going to open a can of cat food since 3C came in. The other 4 were already in. Anyway, they did some good, but as muckraking journalists, they had to sensationalize everything. The media painted Sinclair as a revolutionary communist who would put a boot to the neck of every Californian. Well, I don't know. What's communist about? Consumer safety. By the way, Boar's Head, who puts out various deli meats, will no longer be putting out liverwurst and they will no longer, they're closing down, I guess, or not using this plant in Virginia, or was it West Virginia? Anyway, this one particular plant caused an outbreak. I think it was salmonella. It was either listeria or salmonella, and some people died. And they traced it back to poor, handling, breaking the rules and like that. And apparently it came from the liverwurst they were producing, but because of their horrible food handling processes, the liverwurst was contaminating all the meats and cheeses that they produced. Yeah, it's getting hard to find liverwurst in any brand. But it kind of makes me glad that I haven't bought their deli meats lately, because, I'm on a tight budget, because I didn't get that horrible disease. No, Ditch. Liverwurst is pork, not beef. Although if you want kosher liverwurst, then it's beef. Anyway, I can get Braunschweiger. I'll have to type that in the chat. It's liverwurst that has been smoked, and I like that even better. Lack of light here. Let me see if this will help. Oh, come on. It's BRAUNSCHWEIGER. And spell checker doesn't like that word. It wants to leave off the ER on the end. Well, I'm leaving it on. Well, it might be Braunschweiger in some other language, but on the labels, it's spelled the old German way. I like it better than liverwurst, actually. But yeah, now I gotta get the thing I dropped on the floor. Okay, because it's my cigarette lighter. Ditch makes his own. That's interesting. Anyway, I do like all kinds of liver. It ticks me off that our Thanksgiving turkeys quite often don't have the giblets because turkey liver, the only way you can get it is if you buy a whole turkey and it's packed inside. Yeah, pate. That's what liverwurst is, really. It's a pate. Oh, and this, I think, Greek lady, but, American, but Greek ancestry, who was once dating Norman Spinrad, served us these sandwiches in pita bread with like the salad toppings, lettuce and tomatoes. But the filling was a chicken liver pate that was just so awesome. Oh, I wish I could make that the way she did. Anyway, I'm not, I can't think of that word now. Well, I'm not industrious enough to try to make liverwurst at home. I could make a chicken liver pate, but I don't know what kind of spices to add. Yeah, Ditch. In most cases, I just don't like kosher food. It tends to be too bland and too dry. I mean, you can't, for example, add milk to beef gravy. Because you can't cook the cow in its own milk, and you can't cook the calf in the mother's milk. You can't put mayonnaise on an egg sandwich because mayonnaise has egg. But I don't understand why you can't put sour cream on an egg sandwich. It's a different animal. It's from a cow. Oh, Ditch says salt, pepper, and onion powder, the three kings. So is that what I should put in a liver pate? I wouldn't try to make a pate from beef liver. It's has too much connective tissue that just won't blend. Philip gets most of his protein from milk and cheese. Me too. Lately, I haven't eaten much meat because have you seen the prices? Oh my. Oh, mushroom burgers. There's a stand near you where you can get them? Ah. Yeah, cheese and egg is fine, but egg and mayonnaise is not. But I've been to kosher restaurants and you can't put mayonnaise on a chicken sandwich or an egg sandwich because they're from the same animal. Just weird. Oh, Philip says mustard tastes better anyway. Well, I want to make, if you put enough mustard on an egg sandwich to make it, soft, smooth, and moist, you'll be overpowered by the mustard, but I'll bet sour cream would work. Oh, hi, Don. Welcome in. I've been here an hour now. No, I don't think I know Madman Muntz. Well, some people are more strict on kosher than others, but the restaurants that Joel took me to were apparently very strict. And I know he ate there often because he was friends with all the staff, including the chef. Darned if I could remember the names of the restaurants. You know, this was back in the dark ages, around 1970. Oh, yeah. So Philip lives in a ghost town. Sagebrush and tumbleweeds. Well, I'm not in a ghost town, but I'm in a small town. When the weather and the season is right, and not in the winter for sure, but in the summer for sure, we have a weekly farmers market in Crestline, and then on a different day there's one in Twin Peaks, and then on another different day there's one in Running Springs. And we do have Buddy's Barbecue, which is a stand. He makes deals with various local shops to use their parking lots. So you never know where he's going to turn up, but he's usually at the farmers markets. No mixing dairy and meats at all? Not even chicken with sour cream? That's ridiculous. Chickens don't have milk. And there's a taco truck that keeps coming around, but they're from down the hill, not from the mountain, and they don't really participate in much to do with the community here. But apparently they did donate some tacos to the firefighters. Tacos or enchiladas? Not enchiladas, burritos. Excuse me. I've been thinking about enchiladas lately. I only recently learned to like enchiladas. I go ahead and get the frozen ones, but I put a lot of extra cheese on top. Yeah, it was burritos. Did I oh, the mysterious package, I finally picked it up at the post office. It was from my health insurance company, and it's some kind of test, and I haven't read the instructions, and I can't tell what it is from the labeling. Color preserver? What does that mean in medical terms? I suspect they want me to poop in it. Yeah, there's some ghost towns in California too, but they're mostly tourist attractions. Yeah, quesadillas are good. Someone gave me a quesadilla maker. It's like a waffle iron for quesadillas, but I did it once. I didn't really like it, and I can't get the cheese off the nonstick surface. The cheese came out from between the tortillas and got stuck on the edges. And I prefer an open face, just one tortilla with cheese on top. And I put butter in the frying pan and keep it on really low heat. Put the tortilla in, top it with cheese, and then put the lid on. And it takes only 2 or 3 minutes for the cheese to melt. And the butter really makes it tons better. And having less tortilla means I can taste more cheese. Okay, Dawn, I don't know what that refers to. That's something sweet. Mm. Uh, oh, back in the dark ages, around 1970, that you were born then, Freeman? Jeez. I gave birth in 73. I'm not insulting you. You're just a sweet young thing. Oh, the quesadilla maker? Yeah, it was a nice thought. See, a friend of mine was clearing out her mother's house after her mother passed away, and she gave me a few appliances, small appliances like an electric can opener and a George Foreman grill. But I guess she didn't know that the little plastic thing goes under it to catch the grease. So I'll have to find something in my kitchen that can go under it to catch the grease, because I didn't get the plastic thing that's made for it. Anyway, this quesadilla maker isn't working out for me. So I'm going to try to get the burned on cheese off of it so I can donate it to somebody who wants one. Or if nothing else, the seniors thrift shop, which is a charity, local charity. Well, I can go along with no fish without scales. No bird with webbed feet. So you can't have duck or goose, Freeman. Oh dear. Yes, Mom used to tell us we'd be driving along Jefferson Boulevard and there's these huge fences uh, in front of the MGM lots where they did their outdoor filming. And she would tell us that when she was a child, they put up those fences to keep the dinosaurs off of Jefferson Boulevard, which goes through Los Angeles and Culver City. Mickey Mouse shaped waffles. I'm not really into waffles. Once in a while, I want one. Yeah, the Mickey Mouse shaped waffles, Don. That sounds cool. Waffles with tons of butter and maple syrup, the real maple syrup. Oh, wow. Uh, it's late at night. It is now after midnight. No, it's exactly midnight. Woo! And 1 a.m. is the witching hour. Yeah, there's a Waffle House in Lake Arrowhead. I've never tried the chicken and waffles. It just seems wrong to me. Besides, waffles have milk, so you can't have chicken with them. Ain't kosher. I don't know, Philip. Where I come from, lard is made from pork, but it can be sort of made from beef. I never heard of it being made from goose fat, although geese do have a lot of fat. 3 a.m. where Ditch lives. Spooky. I aren't necessarily flying around, Philip, but in the witching hour they're casting spells. Ooh, pecan waffles, Dawn. That does sound good. Over the weekend, I made a pecan pie. I overcooked it a little, and long before it was overcooked, it boiled over in the oven. Fortunately, I had the pie tin sitting on a cookie sheet that was covered in aluminum foil. So it didn't mess up the whole oven, but I had to do something about the bottom of the pie tin because it was covered in the sauce that the pecans were in. I'm glad somebody's happy that I'm live streaming. I did take a short nap earlier. Didn't really fall asleep. I just listened to some old Nero Wolfe radio shows and cuddled with my kitty cats. I think some of them at least prefer to just sit on my recliner chair without me in the way. Wow. Well, I've never had duck. I did have roast goose once. Cooked it myself. Oh, Dawn went to Catholic school from kindergarten to 8th grade. I wanted to go to a Catholic school when I was like 8 or 9 years old. 9. Because I liked the uniforms. It sounds silly now, but I was a kid. Oh, Philip listens to old time radio. The creaking door. That sounds like a horror show or maybe murder mysteries. Yeah. I've been thinking I should go to church on Sundays. The nice little Baptist church starts at 10:30 in the morning, so it isn't like you have to get up at 6 a.m. and walk through the snow to get there in the dark and the cold. Oh, yeah. I used to listen to Art Bell all the time. Anyway, at this point, I can't walk well enough to cross our main thoroughfare. You know, the big street that goes through town. I can't cross it safely. Wow. There's a Sherlock Holmes episode called On Flanders Field. Flanders was one of the bloodiest battles of World War II. And there's another one. Well, it might be the same one. I'm not sure. Anyway, Basil Rathbone and oh crud, what's his name did the radio show. You know, he played Watson. Why am I blanking on these names that I hear all the time? See. That's an E. I wanted an R. Nigel, I remembered. Nigel Bruce. Anyway. Hi, Cecilia. Welcome in. I'm half asleep. Oh, Ditch, you don't ask to join the Masons. They have to ask you. Although they usually aren't that strict about the rules anymore. My grandfather was a Knight Templar. That's the highest level in, I think it's English, right? And the other grandfather, a step-grandfather, was York, right? Wait a minute. Yeah. So the Templars are York Rite, which is English. The other guy was Scottish Rite, 33rd degree. And neither one of them was famous, wealthy, or powerful. So I guess they joined the wrong Masons. Oh, I'm glad you stopped by, Cecilia. I usually do the live around 8 or a little before 8 in the morning on Thursdays, Pacific time. Oh, so Poland is still at war with Germany? Well, I can't blame them. Although a good chunk, as much as half of what is Poland today, used to be Prussia, which was a German, probably a duchy, I don't know, a German country, the one where the Kaiser came from and forced German-speaking countries to join and become Germany. And then, of course, during World War II, Hitler and Stalin split Poland between them, really destroyed it. one of the worst concentration camps, or actually a ghetto, was in Poland. They just fenced in the area where the Jews lived and didn't let them get any food. And Polish people were sneaking food to the Jews, even though they themselves were very hungry. They'd push a little bread or whatever they had through the fence, through a hole in the fence. You're glad Pio isn't here to hear this, Stitch? Pio is Polish. It was horrible. And that was just the beginning. Okay, well, everyone's entitled to their opinion, but they are not entitled to their own facts. A fact is a fact, and your opinion can't change it. Philip got it in order. Okay, so the British went to war against Germany because of Poland. Yeah, well, they were allies. Yeah, truth is not necessarily the same as a fact. I mean, a fact is Stalin caused starvation in Ukraine. The truth is Stalin wanted the Ukrainians to starve. It wasn't an accident. So there's a slight difference. But you can't really have your own truth or your own fact. Although, if we live in the Matrix, I guess the computer program could change the facts. I don't know. I better check the battery on the modem. Yeah, it's time to plug it into the charger. It's complaining. Well, yeah. Okay. Yes. It has to alert me that it's charging the device. Am I thinking Bismarck? I don't know. No, the Kaiser, the first Kaiser Wilhelm in the late 1800s, set out to unify the German nations. Bismarck was the guy who did it because Kaiser Wilhelm was not a military man. He just told Bismarck, go unify them. But Bismarck was working for the Kaiser, which of course is the German form of Caesar. Also, the Russian word Tsar is also Caesar. Well, my modem has a battery, Don, because it's a portable device. It's smaller than my cell phone. It's wireless. It is, I don't have a cable. Uh, 60s.myretrotvs.com. Uh, we had a black and white TV until around 1970 when Mom got a used color TV at a garage sale. Now they have yard sales because so many homes don't have a garage. So I didn't get to see Star Trek in color until it was in reruns. I think it was 1970 when she got that used color TV. And it didn't have very good color, but it was something. Ooh, images can't make human hands for. Sorry, for some reason. Reminds me of that old TV show, Invaders. He could tell which people were really aliens because they couldn't get the little pinky finger right. I think it was Roy Thinnis who played the mild-mannered architect who saw a UFO land, and even our own government was after him because they didn't want people to know about the aliens who masqueraded as humans. Yeah, I got to see Disneyland on TV before they became the world of living color. NBC got color cameras. It was Channel 4, I think, that first had living color on television. And when color films, the movies, when Technicolor and all that became available, at first it was very expensive, but then the price of silver went up, and black and white film uses a lot of silver. So color suddenly became cheaper than black and white film, and even the low budget independent films were coming out in color, but not Technicolor. That cost money. It was patented. You never heard of the Invaders, Dawn? It was a short-lived show, but it was really cool. It was sort of like the inspiration for They Live with Rowdy Roddy Piper, and of course the Ray Nelson story. I've forgotten the title again. Do I think what does really exist? Aliens masquerading as humans? Probably do exist. They might not even know that they're aliens. And I don't think they come from Alpha Centauri or the Pleiades. I think they come from right around here. I think they blew up their planet, forming the asteroid belt, so they decided to live on this planet. Well, it seems to me that the Disney TV shows were hosted by Walt Disney, but maybe their special movies were hosted by someone else. They had all kinds of cool stuff. Uh, Davy Crockett, Daniel Boone. I think they produced Zorro. Oh, wow. Perhaps we're aliens anyway. We're singularly unsuited for life on this planet. We are not adapted to our environment. We can't survive without tools. And in most places, we have to have shoes and clothing. Especially where I live, it snows in the winter. We don't have fur coats or scales or feathers. Our feet are very tender and they're not well designed for taking the stress of walking on them. And it's really, there's a reason why infants have to learn to walk upright. We're not really well designed for walking around on two legs. That's why so many people fall down so easily. Now, ostriches, those big flightless birds, they're perfectly stable on two legs. Their weight is balanced across them so that they're not likely to fall down. An ice wall around our world, Dawn, and lots more land on Earth outside it with more civilizations. Yeah, that does sound like Scientology. Well, but the Scientologists think that when you die, you get to, well, if you're a man, you get to have your own planet where you're God. Uh, no, no, I wouldn't want that. Remember that movie, where some ordinary guy became God? So when all these people wanted to win the lottery, he said yes to all of them, so each of them got $1. Yeah, no Scientology. It's a cult. And the thing about cults is the few people in charge get all the benefits, and the rest of the people are pretty much slaves. Well, let's consider if we once lived on Mars where there's a lot less gravity, and at the time make Mars a habitable planet or moon, more likely, the moon of the planet that blew up, and having lots of running water and being warm and hospitable. Yeah, Bruce Almighty. Thank you, Don. I never remember the name of the movie. Yeah. At least Masons today are mostly into philanthropy. They fund a children's hospital where nobody ever gets a bill. And they do all kinds of charitable stuff. The thing is, our solar system had some kind of catastrophe. When you go through ancient writings, it appears that Saturn was much brighter and actually lit up the night the way the moon does now. I think it was closer before that planet blew up. And all these astrophysicists say, well, there isn't enough debris in the asteroid belt to form the planet that would have been there. Well, of course not. A lot of it went shooting out farther away. Pluto might have been part of that planet, but I doubt it. When I was a kid, they kept telling us that the planet Pluto was shaped like a potato, but now when you see photos of it, the darn thing is round like a volleyball or a baseball. But I'll bet, the debris that's way out there beyond Pluto and probably was part of a planet that blew up. And then there's the rings of Saturn, according to Greek myth, were formed when another god, a Greek god, in other words, another planet, got real close and pulled matter out of the planet. The way they put it is he ripped his belly open, and that would have been Zeus, by the way. Apparently, Saturn had swallowed his wife's children, and Zeus was one of them. He got hidden in a cave on the earth, and when he was all grown up, he took a sword and opened his father's belly and freed his brothers and sisters. And that myth, I believe, is a way of remembering that Saturn didn't always have those rings. Something bad happened to form them. Yeah, planets are not perfect spheres, but they come close. It's just that they're made of different kinds of matter with different densities. And when they spin, like the Earth, the equator ends up bigger around than it would be in a perfect sphere, and the poles tend to get flattened. Yeah, we might be headed toward another world war, and I don't want to see it. Yeah, Ditch, the lenses they used to get images of Pluto just weren't as good back in the day. And I forget the name of it, but there's a relatively nearby planetoid that's bigger than Pluto out in the far edges of the solar system. Oh dear. Ditch says, if Pluto isn't a planet, what is Goofy? You have to know the cartoons to get it. Pluto was a dog, and Goofy was a dog that uh, walked on two legs and wore clothing like a human. Yeah. Yeah, in the late 60s, early 70s, uh, there were lots of peace protests. Oh, they keep saying Pluto is too small to be a planet. It's a dwarf planet. So it isn't one of our 9 major planets. So that means we have only 8. But there's good reason to believe that there is an actual large planet out beyond the Kuiper belt and beyond Pluto and all that we just can't see. And there's also good reason to believe that our star, our sun, is a binary star, that there is another star way out there that we haven't seen, but it's actually orbiting along with our sun and our planets. It's just really far away and possibly very small, or at least very dim. Yeah. Well, they demoted it because they're number crunchers and not. They're soulless number crunchers. It's too small. And there is a movement among astronomers to reinstate Pluto. Oh, well, my cigarette isn't burning at all now, Ditch. I put it out. Oh, Cecilia seems to think that there's a magnetic property to the planets because they have metal. Could be. Anyway, many of these Greek myths are stories told to help people remember the science. Like, like Saturn getting its rings when Zeus ripped his belly open with a sword, and before that, Saturn kicked his father, Uranus, sky or heaven, kicked him out farther away because he wanted to take over all the gods. He wanted to be the leader. And the prophecy was that his own son would kick him out of the top position. That's why he ate all his children. Yes, soulless number crunchers. That's what medicine has come down to now. Ooh, string cheese. Yeah, that's good stuff. I know it has, some have sawdust, some have cornstarch, and that's supposed to be bad, but I don't care. I love string cheese. It's mozzarella that's had something added to make it come out in strings. I just love it. Don, you gotta go lighter on the beer. It'll give you a beer belly, and that's bad for your health. Anyway, I think both Saturn and Uranus, whatever, no one knows how to pronounce it. I think they both were closer to the Earth in ancient times, like maybe during or before the Ice Age. Ooh, avocado toast. I already ate my avocado. And I did have half of it on toast and half of it in what do you call that? You fry up some onions, bell peppers, and strips of meat and put them in a tortilla. I forgot what it's called. It's not quesadilla, it's not frittata, it's one of my favorite Mexican foods. And well, not a burrito. You don't wrap it, you just fold the tortilla in half. They used to bring it to you in the restaurants on a sizzling platter, and they'd warn you, don't touch it, it's hot. Now, it's actually a variant of a taco, but it has its own name. Fajita! Thank you, Cecilia. Fajitas. I add avocado and sour cream and lots of cheese. And I make them mild because I'm not really good with hot peppers. But oh man, they are, yeah, delish. And there's so many ways you can add things to them. You can cut up some little cherry tomatoes and add those. You can put on salsa. I can handle medium salsa. Oh, but I usually get the mild just because I have a lot of trouble with hot peppers. Oh, yeah. I have had beef sticks and cheese. They come in one package. They're okay, but I'm not wild about the beef. The spices don't agree with me. Oh, Snickers. I can't have peanuts anymore. Last time I ate peanuts, I went into shock. And I was never allergic to peanuts before. Sriracha's too hot for me. I'm not into Caesar dressing. It's a little too loaded with vinegar for my taste. But I do like a raspberry vinaigrette, even though it's a little on the acid side. The raspberries sweeten it up. I think a certain medical treatment for a certain virus has something to do with the allergies I've developed recently. I know it gave me a skin condition, mostly on my arms. The dead skin builds up and does not slough off. And there's only so much I can do with a loofah before I start bleeding, and I still have these bumps on my arms. Mostly my left arm for some reason. Yeah, I try to revive the soil or in my garden, like with fish fertilizer. I can't just bury a fish because the raccoons will find it. You could bury it 10 feet deep, they would find it. So I have to get the liquid. Oh, salad sounds good, but I don't have any lettuce. I do have celery. I could put in my dentures and eat some celery sticks with cream cheese. No more peanut butter, and I love peanut butter, but I can't take a chance. What I ate was Reese's peanut butter cups, and I used to, just go through the big share pack and eat 3 or 4 of them all at once. But that time I ate 2 of them and I got dizzy and weak and incredibly cold. My bones felt like ice. My blood pressure was crashing. So I real quick swallowed 2 Benadryl and then reached for my phone, but I passed out before I could call for help. But fortunately, the Benadryl, this was advice that had been given to me by doctors and dentists. The Benadryl, the double dose, twice as much as you take for a cold, it really did save my life. I woke up like 2 or 3 hours later. And I don't know whether I passed out from the Benadryl or from being in shock, but it was probably from being in shock, because Benadryl does take a little while to take effect. Oh, quinoa. I used to think that said quinoa, but someone told me no, it's quinoa. Oh, quinoa, an ancient grain blend with super green walnut and apple grape salad. And protein. Sounds really good, Cecilia. Well, food got stuck in my real teeth ditch, and it's a lot easier to get it out of the dentures. I love my dentures. I'm not wearing them because even though they fit me very well, I found that I talk better without them due to this horrible thing going on with my lip. I have to get to a doctor, and a cancer doctor, and get it taken care of. Oh, Cecilia's awesome. Uh, yeah, I've been on for 2 hours, guys. I can't believe people hang out with me for 2 hours in the middle of the night or early in the morning. Oh, I think cheese makes everything better. Cheese on a salad, cheese on a hamburger, uh, cheese on fajitas. cheese on tacos and tostadas and cheese on the refried beans. Oh, I've found, I just have no patience, so I get the refried beans in a can. Well, I put the beans into a cold pan without the heat, and I put in 2 or 3 tablespoons of water and 1 tablespoon of oil. I usually melt some bacon fat, which is basically lard. But when I'm feeling lazy, I'll use whatever oil I have. Olive oil, grapeseed, or just cooking oil. Even though it's bad for you, I think 1 tablespoon in a can of beans won't kill me. So I take a fork and stir the water and oil into the beans and get them all fluffy, and then I heat them up, and they come out tons better, more like the restaurant beans, which most good restaurants make from scratch from dried beans. They're really more enjoyable to eat when they're fluffy and moist. If you just heat up the can of beans, they're dry and the texture isn't as pleasant. Yeah, Don, they're usually made with lard, but I don't know about the stuff in the can. I don't have one handy where I could read the ingredients, but you never know. Yeah, grapeseed oil is very neutral. It doesn't add flavor to anything, which is usually a good thing. Olive oil, the bottle I have says it's extra virgin, but I don't believe it. I've done the research. If it were just from Spain or Italy, either one, I would trust it more, but it's from Spain and 2 other countries. So what they do is they get the extra virgin olive oil from Spain, and then they mix it with cheaper olive oils that are not extra virgin. Extra virgin is when they press the olives cold, no heat, and it's the first pressing. When they're done with that, then they use heat to make the cheaper olive oils and press it some more. Anyway, that's fine with me because it has a very mild flavor, but it isn't, from the price, I was pretty sure it wasn't expensive enough to be the real thing. But if I'm going to make something Italian, I'll use the olive oil until it's all gone, and then I'll use whatever oil I have. Yeah, diced tomatoes are so good on refried beans, on tacos, in burritos, and cheese, lots of cheese. But the ones in the can really need a little bit of oil and some water to fluff them up and get them moist and get them to the right texture. You might have noticed when you get them from a good Mexican restaurant, they kind of ooze across the plate. They don't sit in a lump. That's because they are more moist than the stuff in the cans. There must be some reason why they don't have more liquid in the can. Oh, good night, Ditch. I'm going to log off soon. And no hurry on the logo. I have to do more videos. Paninis. I don't remember what they are. Let's see. Panini. Panini. Football trading cards. Panini grill. What makes a sandwich a panini? Made with Italian breads such as ciabatta and michetta. Ooh, never had one, but I'd like to try it. What I really want to try is a cubano. It's a Cuban sandwich. There's a lot involved. You have to get the right meat, the right cheese, the right bread. But I've seen them on YouTube and they look awesome. It comes from Cuba and it's a sandwich that is just awesome. Ooh, panini with smoked provolone. I don't know. I like provolone, although Americans, we usually call it provolone. Anyway, yeah, I like that kind of cheese. I don't think I've ever had it smoked, but I probably would like it. Good night, Dawn. Good night, Cecilia. Ooh, Tanya South just came in. Good night from New Zealand. Yes, good night, everyone. Good night, and don't let the bed bugs fight. Let's see. My keyboard's in the dark. But I do have a typo in this somewhere. Oh, that's a big typo. TIGHT. And then I have an M where it should be an N. There, here we go. It's been wonderful chatting with you guys. But you know, life goes on with or without us. See ya. And good night, Philip, and good night, Dawn, and good night, Ditch, and Cecilia, and whoever else is here. Oh, wait a minute. What have I done? They're here. Oh, I forgot to say good night to Freeman. Oh, narrated by AI. Narrated by David Attenborough. Okay. Good night.